Hi everyone, Gruntle here, and this is my guide to legendary and unique weapons in Borderlands, the pre-sequel. This episode we're looking at Kaneda's laser, which is a legendary launcher manufactured by Tediore and part of the Claptastic Voyage DLC. So the interesting thing about this launcher is that it has the name laser, Kaneda's laser. So that tells you that there's going to be something interesting with this weapon, especially since it's part of the Claptastic Voyage. So when I shoot this weapon, this launcher, it's going to fire out a laser rather than a rocket. So that's pretty cool. I'll fire it off right now. So you can see that out of it is coming a laser, which is very awesome. And that means that if you hit them in their critical spot, if you hit enemies in their critical spot, like that, you will get a critical hit with this weapon. So most launchers, I think all launchers except this one, can't actually get critical hits unless you're using Nisha. However, you can with the laser, Kaneda's laser. So that's kind of cool. And it's also very accurate, as you would have seen there. So it's laser accurate, you could say. Now let's have a look up close on it here. So you can see that it's kind of got a purpley blue aqua looking skin. A bit shiny, kind of cool. And I believe the red text and the name, Kaneda's laser, they're both references to an anime and a particular character in that anime. So I found this by searching on the web. Usually I'd find the references on the wiki page, which I'll always link in the description below the like button. I usually find the reference there, but there was nothing on it this time, so I did a little Google searching, and it looks like it's a reference to Shotaro Kaneda, or however you're supposed to say his name, from an anime and manga called Akira. So that's kind of cool. Basically this guy has a rocket launcher that fires out lasers, I think. From what I could see of the image search on Google, that was the case. Now let's look at the parts of this weapon. So what we've got here is the Tediore barrel. Now it's always going to spawn with a Tediore barrel, and the great thing about Tediore barrels is that they do nothing. They literally do nothing. So they're not going to buff anything, but they're also not going to debuff anything. They're a little unfortunate, probably the worst barrel in the game for rocket launchers just because it adds nothing to the weapon, but oh well, that's what it spawns with. Next up we have the grip here, and this is the Torg grip that I've put on here. However, you can find it with any other kind of grip, of course. And the Torg grip adds damage to the weapon, so that's why I've got it here. It does decrease accuracy slightly and also decreases reload speed and increases recoil, but all of those things on this weapon aren't that bad anyway, so I didn't feel like those debuffs were too terrible, and the added damage is always nice, especially since I'll show you actually right now. Comparatively to a purple version with the same parts, the Kaneda's laser has a lower damage value, but of course you can get those critical hits, so that does mean that you will be able to get more damage if you get them in the correct spot. Next in the parts list we have the exhaust, and this is the Torg exhaust. Once again, it is adding damage whilst decreasing fire rate somewhat, but the fire rate of this weapon, stumbled a bit on those words. The fire rate of this weapon is a little bit bad, so it's not going to decrease it too much, and you wouldn't really notice too much of a difference. It does add that damage though, and damage is nice. Almost last thing, we've got the sight here. That is the Torg Site, and it's always going to spawn with this Torg Site. So the guaranteed parts are the Torg Site and the Tediore barrel on this weapon, and the Torg Site increases the accuracy. So that's why you've got the increased accuracy here, and that's why it's always going to have the Torg Site, because it's quite an accurate laser. Lastly, we have the accessory, and I have gone with this accessory here, which buffs weapon swap speed and reload speed. The buff to weapon swap speed is what I was really going for, because it's always nice to take out your launcher super quickly, but also the increase in reload speed is nice, because that kind of counteracts some of what the Torg grip is going to decrease. So that's always good, and I believe that's all the parts on this weapon. The negative 60% weapon put down time, by the way, is due to the the accessory here, and it's not something that's usually on this launcher unless you have it with this accessory. So let's compare it here to that purple version that we were comparing before, and as I said, the damage is higher on the purple than on Kaneda's laser. However, the accuracy is way better on the laser. Fire rate is comparable, pretty similar, not much to say about there, but the magazine size again is way better, so that's awesome. And it only consumes 1 ammo per shot as well. It's not going to increase the ammo per shot for it being a laser, so it's great. 6 shots, excellent. I just want to talk about this Logan's gun real quick. I didn't really talk about it too much in the other videos. I don't know if this is actually part of the pre-sequel. I haven't picked it up myself, but I assume it is. It's in the code anyway. Basically, you shoot this on the ground if you've got a sham shield, and you can pick up the splash damage from this weapon acts as launcher ammo, so you can pick up the launcher ammo and refill your rocket launchers. Anyway, we're going to shoot a couple more times with this, and I'll show you on maybe on this guy what it does. So I missed, of course, and blam, it's going to hit him, do a heap of damage. I've switched away for a second so I can show you the reloading of a Tediore launcher. Basically what's going to happen is it's going to be thrown. Usually it would be thrown like a grenade if it's a Tediore weapon, but with launchers they become rockets. So it's going to throw it out as a rocket, and it's going to be terribly accurate. So usually I like to throw it at the feet of enemies if I'm reloading. But yes, I will show you that in the field of battle, which we'll go to in a second with Claptrap. The Kaneda's laser, which is what I'm holding in my hand and I've been talking about for the past 5 or so minutes. It is explosive damage, as you would have seen on the card, so it's great to use Claptrap with it because he has a lot of explosive damage buffs. However, the skill tree of, I'm trying to think of his name, Wilhelm, of course. The skill tree of Wilhelm will buff this weapon. So his laser buffs, particularly, will buff Kaneda's laser, which is something that's very interesting. The eddy laser damage increase will not buff Kaneda's laser, but skill tree buffs that buff lasers buff this weapon buff. Buff, buff, buff. I think you get the idea. So yes, good characters. Wilhelm with his laser buffs, Claptrap with his explosive bluffs, and any other character, because this is pretty freaking awesome. It's great with Nisha because it's going to have that perfect accuracy, and pretty much instantly the enemy is going to get damaged as soon as you pull the trigger. So with her skill aiming perfectly on an enemy, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a heap of damage and increased critical hit damage. So her critical hit stuff, you know, this can get critical hits, great synergy, blah blah blah. Characters. Let's move on to the gameplay with Claptrap in Overlook. Be right back. So just to start off with here, I'm going to show you that you do not get damaged by the explosive blast of the laser. You will get damaged by the reload of it, but if you shoot the ground next to you or an enemy next to you, you will not get damaged, so that is pretty cool. Now back to the fighting. For some reason I go down right to start with, but I do manage to get up out of Fight for Life mode very quickly because this weapon is very powerful. It is of course a launcher, so the damage is very high compared to a lot of other weapons. And the fact that it only uses 1 ammo per shot, and it's a laser so it's super accurate, and it's a Tediore so it's got the reload which actually damages enemies, means that this is pretty insane. It is probably my favorite weapon, not my favorite weapon, take that back, my favorite launcher in the game so far anyway. From what I've seen, there are a few that I haven't seen just now, but this is definitely incredible and a lot of fun to use with any character, but incredible with Claptrap, and probably pretty good with Wilhelm, and probably incredible with Nisha as well, as I was saying earlier. So of course you can check out the description if you want to read more about this weapon. And right now I'm going to fail at a 720 shot, completely missed him. Tried to kill myself, it didn't work. But yes, I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned a bit, and I hope you enjoy using Kaneda's laser because it is awesome. If you'd like to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.